Okay, so Druski did this church skit, and baby, it is funny, but it's also the kind of funny that makes you tighten your wig and your theology at the same time. Because I'm laughing and I'm grieving because the joke is loud, but the truth under it is louder. And tonight on the Hear My Heart show, we're talking about the real issue. Are we preaching Jesus or are we performing for clicks?
Why be somebody else when I can be me? Why be somebody else when I can be me? You're already taken, cause I'm in the making. Cause I'ma be me, I'ma be me, I'ma be me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm so good at being good.
There it is.
Hey, family, and welcome back to the Hear My Heart show. And this is the place where we can laugh, we can heal, we can tell the truth, and keep it holy. Now, the Druski skit, it's over the top. It's a mega church pastor vibe, smoke, spectacle, money talk, and the extra that made folks say, "Wait a minute, why does this feel familiar?" And I'm not here to clutch pearls. Like, we don't have some people out here doing the absolute most. If you don't want to be talked about, don't be talk aboutable. Okay. But also, we can't let comedy become cruelty and we can't let disrespect become normalized. So, we're going to do this thing balanced. We're going to laugh when it's appropriate, mourn when we need to, and end with a heart check because overall we're representing Jesus. So, before we get into it, I need you to hit the subscribe button, share this with a friend who's been side eyeing church culture, and I need you to comment, keep it Jesus, if you're ready for the truth. So here's the bittersweet part for church folks. It can feel disrespectful. For non church folks, it looks like a documentary. And that's what really is stinging here. But if an outsider watches the church and all they remember is the performance, the flexing, the gimmicks, the theatrics, and not the gospel of Jesus Christ, then we've got a branding problem and not a discipleship problem. So let me be crystal and clear here. We were never called to entertain people into salvation. We were called to lift up Jesus. Paul literally said, I decided to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and Him crucified. Not me and my platform, not me and my catchphrases. I know I got some good ones, and not me and my viral moments. Jesus. Because if we're honest, some of us are just one fog machine away from needing a halftime show sponsor. And I'm not mad at excellence by far, but I'm asking, where is the reverence at? So let's do a heart check. If the camera's cut off, would you still preach like that? If if the offering was small, would you still show up with that same kind of love? If nobody reposted it, would you still do it? If Jesus sat right on the front row, would you turn it down or would you turn it up? Because there's a difference between culture and calling, sisters and brothers. There's a difference between being anointed and being addicted to attention. And I want to say this too. Some people have real church hurt. They've been manipulated, they've been embarrassed, they've been used financially, used emotionally. And when they see a skit like that, it confirms their worst assumptions. So, yes, it can be disrespectful, but it can also be revealing. Because when a church kid, the church kid comedians does the church jokes, people call it relatable, they call it funny, they call it, oh, we all been there. But when an outsider does it, it's now, oh, they mocking God. They coming for the church. They persecuting us. And sometimes If we're honest, it's not that the joke is different, it's that the mirror is being held by somebody that we didn't give the permission to. If the only way the church can handle critique is when it comes from approved people, that's not maturity, sisters and brothers. That's image management. Now, I'm not saying everybody has pure motives. I'm not saying comedy can't cross lines. What I am saying is, even when the messenger is messy, the message might still expose something that we need to fix. My leaders, if you're listening, this isn't about you being perfect at all. It's about you and your pure, if your motives are pure. Because if you had an audit, what would it reveal? If we was to audit your message, is Jesus the main character or are you? If we audited your method, is it helping people grow or just making people react? If we audited your money, am I transparent or am I accountable or am I untouchable? Because when the church looks at a hustle, the world stops listening. Stop defending foolishness like it's faith. We have to stop that. We can love the church and still call out behavior that dishonors Jesus. If you've been hurt or turned off, hear my heart. Jesus is not the mess. People can be the mess. Don't throw away God because somebody used God wrong. At the end of the day, the goal isn't to win an argument about a skit. The goal is this: the church should look like Jesus, not like celebrities, not like a circus, not like a cash grab. And if we don't want the world clowning the church, we got to stop giving them the material. So I'm praying for our leaders to have the courage and character, and for congregants to have discernment and a backbone. I'm also praying for the people who feel far from God to meet the real Jesus without the distractions. So, what I need for you to do is comment, keep it Jesus if you're with me, and comment healing if church hurt tried to push you away, but you still want God. Share this with somebody who's been saying, I love Jesus, but the church. And remember, we can laugh, but we still got to be accountable. Let's not give the enemy content today. Grace and peace.